Hey guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode because today here I'm going to interview two horror villains. Lucy Hart, who plays as Babs, and Louis Lombardi, who plays as Mr. Director in the movie Director's Cut. Hope you guys enjoy. What's up, everyone? It's Raven here, and I have two special guests today, and we have Lucy Hart, and then we have Louis, or aka Lombardi, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hello. So if you guys like, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves a little bit.
Sure, I'm Lucy Hart. I had the pleasure of starring in this movie alongside with Louis and our co understar. I wasn't Louis a star. I was just helped him kill a bunch of people. So whatever you call that. And I live in Brooklyn, and like a lot of Brooklyn people, I hustle like six different jobs while I try to be an actress and
Dang.
enjoy it. So
Nice. You're a hustler. I like that.
Yes, he is. I can vouch for that. Watch her Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm always like, where'd she get this energy? I'm on the couch. I've been on TikTok all day and I'm tired and she's like working, bartend, doing everything.
Would you consider yourself a workaholic?
No, I was in my 30s. I'd started a porn company and absolutely work was like my primary thing. Like it was my art, all my friends worked with me, everything was work. And I did that. I don't want to do that again. I think there's a time and place for that. I had to like build something, I don't know. I don't regret it, but I ain't doing that again. So I try to be realistic. Like I bartend about once a month mostly so
Mm.
I can have access to the bar. They let me come in when it's not open and do photo shoots and video shoots and stuff like that.
Oh,
And I
okay.
can host events there and stuff like that. And then starting a new suicide hotline for trans women, but I'm not like running it all by myself and working
Mhm.
like I'm budgeting to hire an admin to run it for me. And so doing it smarter, you know what I mean? I've found that's way better.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah,
What
yeah.
about you, Louis?
I just hang around, wait to get acting jobs. And
Mhm.
I have a pizza company with me and my daughter. I've been acting for 45 years. I started doing NYU films when I was, 13, 14. And, and growing, like I said, I went to fifth grade, so I didn't have money to go to school or film school or acting school. So what I did was I would go audition for NYU films because you learn on a real set. And I tell a lot of younger actors that today. They're always like, acting school, acting school. No, acting school will take you to a certain level. You could cry all you want in the mirror or around the same five people. But a movie, you're on a set with 100 people. And most of acting is distraction. Your hair, your makeup, your shirt, your wardrobe. Everybody's pulling and pulling at you. The director's telling you shit. The DP's like, can't move this way. The director's saying, the writer's going, we need this line. You have to, you know, com compress all of this stuff in your mind within 30 seconds before they say action. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
people don't understand that. So when they go to acting schools, their whole entire existence, and you're in a classroom, and you're not in the real, it's like being in a game. You can practice all you want. When you get in the game, you get hit in your mouth, see how you still keep playing. And that's what acting is. And I try to tell people that. So I would audition for NYU films. I would learn how to make films. I would get $100,000 a year education for free. I would be on sets, hanging out with all these young kids. This is when I was in the Bronx and I was like a street kid, and I would just go down there and I found this whole new world outside of the criminal Bronx where I grew up in. Everyone was a criminal. When I found NYU, everybody was like, wow, I found like my little tribe in a way because I always wanted to be an actor since I was 10.
Mhm.
People go, when was your big job? The Sopranos? I go, The Sopranos? I have headshots at 12 years old. And when I showed them, they're like, holy shit. Sopranos was like 2000. Even before Sopranos, I had done two TV series and about 30 movies. So I just grind and grind and grind, and I've been grinding since I'm 12. And when people go, I don't have money, I think that's just an excuse. I didn't have it. I didn't have any education. I went to fifth grade. I learned how to read from like paperback books as a kid. I learned how to write. I still write. I've written 30, 40 projects. It's what you really put your mind to, you can achieve. Everybody has this hurdle in their head because it's called laziness. It's called
Mhm.
insecurity. I'm the guy who I don't give a fuck. I don't care what you say about me. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You're no relevance to me. My daughter matters or my mother. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, kids have this thing where they're afraid their friends might judge them. It's almost bullying in a way without,
Yeah.
and I just don't give a fuck. I teach my daughter that people's opinions are nothing unless they're, like attached to you, like your dad, your mom. That's all that matters. What
Yeah.
those opinions are. To me, it is. I matter what my daughter thinks of me more than anything.
Oh, so
Anyway,
sweet.
so I learned how to act and do all of this stuff for free on sets. So I got like a real life experience since I'm 12, 13. So when I got to Hollywood, I did this little independent movie in New York that was a big hit at the Sundance Film Festival, but it was a little independent film I got out of the same thing I would send my NYU films to. And I got this independent film. Mira Savino cast me. She was no one. She was a casting person. Her dad put up money. 2 years later, the movie gets to Sundance. I drove from the Bronx to Sundance. I didn't know anyone. I just got my car. I picked up my buddy and we drove. We picked up Mira Savino in LA, drove from LA to Utah. Sundance Film Festival was nothing at the time. Our film hit, so we were like, holy shit. I was like, this is insane. Like I was, on the streets being a criminal like a month ago. Now I'm sitting here with the biggest people going, we love you. And I ended up getting an agent immediately. And again, it all goes into, you manifest what you want. My idol growing up was Oliver Stone,
Mm.
right? It was Oliver Stone. I loved him. I would read his books. I was like, I want to make these kind of movies, not like Scorsese or Coppola, but more Oliver. All right, I get to LA after Sundance. We're a big guy. Oh my God, these guys are great from our little independent movie. Who's the first person I meet a week after Sundance? Oliver Stone. He's like, yo, man, I saw you in this movie. Now I'm in the room going, holy shit, like I'm a 25-year-old kid, no union card, nothing. From the Bronx, being a hustler, to now sitting in the room with the guy I've been manifesting for the last 10 years of my life, maybe longer. And he's like, he goes, so he saw the movie I did. He goes, hey, man, I love your look. I'm going to put you in my next movie. I was like, are you kidding? He's like, yeah, I'll keep in touch. 6 months later, it was Natural Born Killers. I worked with Oliver Stone, Tommy Lee Jones, Woody Harrelson, Robert Downey. For 3 months, hung out with them every night. And you get you as a kid, you manifest. Or as an
Mm.
adult, what do I want? And it kind of like all played out for the years before I got to Hollywood. And my first guy hired me was Oliver Stone. I got on the back of the Natural Born Killer boxes. They used me I was the first. I had no union card. I got it on that movie. Oliver Stone got me my SAG card. So, it's just I try to explain to people, especially today's society of filmmaking or acting, right? Just go do it. You have an iPhone, you can shoot a movie. You have your energy, you have confidence in, go shoot something. Don't just wait for stuff to happen. And that's why when I watch Lucy shit hustling the shit out of her shit, I love it because that's me. And I watch her behind a bar, she's always like something, and her energy
Yeah.
doing something. I'm like, I love that. I like her thing. I think it's great. But that's the energy you need to succeed in life. Not acting, in life in general. Hustle the fucking shit out of life, and you'll get shit back.
Yeah, I do believe in that. That's true.
Sorry, I'm
And
cursing. I don't know if this is
no,
like
you're good. You're fine. You guys are fine.
I'll stop. I'll
Um,
stop.
do you, by any chance, not to change the subject or whatnot, but do you guys believe in like readings or tarot readings and things like that? Or you're like, not really.
I've never I have faith in a lot of things that I kind of developed over my I'd say I've been practicing spiritual shit for 30 years. But not really tarot astrology. I'm not like saying, no, it's all fake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I never had a reading that I was like, oh, right. But I've had a lot of I've gotten a lot out of like some of the other texts. And I'm I'm reading a thing. I'm not reading, I'm doing a monologue on May 1st. The theme of the night is sex as religion. And I'm like, oh, I grew up in like, I mean, in my 20s, I was in a sex cult that was spiritual. So like I got this. So I wrote some really good shit. I'm just trying to memorize it now. It's like 11 pages, but I'll get it. But lots of spiritual shit, not so much astrology or tarot.
Okay, okay. What about you, Louis?
No, I've never done it. I don't want to know when I'm dying.
Oh no,
I
no,
want
it's
it
not
to
like
be a
that.
surprise.
No. Okay.
Then the taxes stop, the credit card bills stop, and I'm.
No, because okay, last night I was just thinking about it, about this whole interview, getting things ready. And I was like, you know what? Let me just do a reading real quick. And it's nothing bad, I promise. It's
Mhm.
good, it's good stuff. And I wanted like to know more about your guys' like personality wise. So, Lucy, I'm gonna show you the card. Is that okay? Okay.
Sure.
For you is the star. I don't know if you can see it.
Ooh,
Wow.
I get a
Which
star.
Yeah, and like which represents you're the type of person who is very welcoming to anyone. You are open arms to anyone. You're someone that can be very reliable on. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you give me this type of energy where like if I'm going through something, you're just open arms. Like I can tell you about anything and you won't judge me. You accept me for who I am and you're very I don't know how to explain it, but you're emotional wise, you're very well balanced. You know when to outburst, you know when to be calm, you know when to, you're just very true to yourself. And when you were explaining about your whole like going to college and you want to become a psychiatrist, and that just tells me like a lot about you. Like, oh my God, I don't know why I get so like emotional, but I really like that because there's not a lot of people like that nowadays. A lot of people are very selfish. So like, yeah, but thanks. You're making me like you
Okay.
inspired me. Yeah.
And I agree because
Thanks.
even when we were on set, she was making chicken soup, bringing it into people when it was
Aw.
sick, and she would be so easy to work with. Lucy, hey, what do you want to do? Always just happy and moving
I was
along.
so happy to
So,
be there.
so
It
Aw.
was honestly,
what you just said about her is 100% true. So,
oh,
Ah, you see how cute. I like that.
I
And
just
then,
felt so grateful to be there. I don't know.
yeah,
it was
I
great.
bet.
Easy
Yeah.
to work with. Every time she fucking got on screen, she killed it. No pun intended.
Oh,
And I'd be
oh,
watching her, and I told Donnie, I go, we need to add more of her in here. She's great. I
Hmm.
go, she's my
oh.
favorite character in the movie. Every time she shows up, people are like, holy shit, because you don't know what's gonna happen. She kills more people than me in the movie. Yes, you do.
Yeah. That's why
And
she
I'd be
has,
like watching her kill people, going here, dragging the kid along grab the girl by the hair, and was dragging her across the room. I was like watching it off camera, going, holy shit.
yeah.
It was like fascinating. I loved working with her and I loved watching her. It was great.
Aw.
Oh,
I like that. And that's why you are the star because you
oh,
outshine the most. And
Now
then
we
for,
all, everyone in the movie's a star. The kids are the
oh,
stars.
yes, of
She's a star.
course.
oh,
Of
yeah.
We
course.
all are.
Yeah.
I look at filmmaking as sports because I played sports for so many years. It's a team. When people go, I made this
Hmm.
movie, I go, no, 120 people made this fucking movie.
Hmm.
Even to comes down as far as people like you interviewing us, you're part of the film. Anybody who kind of attaches is part of the mechanism of making the
Yeah.
movie. We make it, you shoot it, you promote it. It's just a one big thing. And there's so many people. So anyway, everybody's like the star of the movie in my eyes.
No, yeah, I agree. You don't worry. I got you. And then for you, Louis, I got
Uh-oh.
Justice.
Uh-oh. Oh my God. Is that like a crow?
It's an owl.
Oh, I love it. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
I
I'm
mean, my
working on a new
cards do
movie
look
about.
scary. No, my cards
Okay.
do look scary, but that's part of it because I do
I
like horror
know.
stuff. But justice represents you, which means you are very wise. You think twice before you speak, or you think twice before you take action of things. Because, how do I say this? You're more of like, again, people can also rely on you, and people can like talk to you about anything, and you're willing to say whatever it is and however you want to say it. You're not you have no filter, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because sometimes people need that. You know, a lot of people tend to beat around the bush with other people's feelings, and you're more of like, I'm gonna say it how it is, and it's up to you whether you take it a good or a bad way. Another one is you stand on business. Like you obviously you work well with others, but at the same time you're like, don't get it twisted. I may look friendly on the outside, but on the inside, if you mess with me, I'm gonna mess with you times 10. So again, I could be wrong, but please
That's
correct me.
100% true. My
Oh
daughter would be
shit.
nodding her head right now.
Okay, good.
She'd be like, yeah. But everything you're saying is kind of on, which is kind of funny.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Everything. So yeah. Well, you're good. Yeah. I mean, you got both of us down.
All right, cool, nice. And so I have a couple questions for you guys on the movie director's cut.
All
So
right.
can you tell us a little bit more about your character as Babs?
Sure. So I moved to New York 3.5, whatever, years ago. Um, And like a week after I got here, I just sold my business that, like I said, I was a workaholic. It was my whole life. Uh, Divorced my wife, who was also my whole life, and changed from a man into a woman. So no more being a man. New voice. I trained a new voice through voice lessons, 5 surgeries, you know. just a whole new person. And I moved to New York to like figure my shit out. Right. I
Mhm.
knew like three people in town and I loved all of them. I was like, okay, that I want to be around these people for sure. That was all I knew. And one of them knew Don and Don was looking for someone to cast as Babs and was saying, yeah, I need like, he wanted a porn girl, like a cis girl that, had done a lot of BDSM, mid 40s, like somewhat strong, like buff. Um, and so there's like a few girls that would fit, like Phoenix Marie would be great for that. There's a few that'd be great for that. And my friend Aaron, Small Hands, the porn star,
I love
um,
him.
and he's such a good guy.
I
He's
like
such a
his
good
they have a
guy.
little dog. I'm sorry to yeah, I did you too.
Yeah, his little doggy's so
I
cute.
love it.
He was
I love
my
what
roommate recently for a little bit. We were living together. It was so cute. It was
oh
funny.
I like him. I
But
watch his stuff. He's like such a cool dude.
yeah, really good dude. But so he tells Don, well, I think you really got to put a trans woman in the role because this is the times we're in. Also, trans women need representation, like in media, and also you want someone who's really been through some shit. Get a trans girl because they literally rip themselves apart and put themselves back together. Da, da, da. Anyway, sold Don the idea. And Don's like, okay, who do I get? Like Aubrey Cates, the most famous trans girl on porn, or this or that. And I just moved to town. And Aaron's like, let me introduce you to Lucy. So we have a Zoom call and Don explains the role, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for someone who can play like a traumatized da da da." Da." And I was like, so I just told him about my last year. I was like, "Oh well, I just held off a violent stalker from my house with an AR-15 for like a year. The cops wouldn't help, and had the da 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 da, and this crazy shit happened, and that, and that 15 years of being tortured in porn, and da da. And he's like." You're it. Okay, you're it. So I just got the role. It's like, okay,
I didn't
cool.
know
What do we
Aaron helped you get the role. I didn't know that.
yeah, it
Oh,
was
that's
all
pretty.
Aaron. Aaron, I never would have got that without Aaron. He definitely, and he would, it would have been a cis girl too, which would have been different. Um,
Oh, that's
and
pretty cool.
this was the first that I know of. I might be wrong. The first time a trans woman had like a major role in a movie that was in a theater. Period. Like nationwide theaters, they're playing a trans woman. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been they get a guy or a girl to play a trans woman. Yeah, that's been on TV and in the movies, but having an actual trans woman do a nationwide theater run, um, that's new. You know what I mean? Playing an actual trans woman, and at no point in the movies did we have to say, "Oh, she's trans. She used to be a he," or anything like they do in a lot of
Mm.
media. They just let me exist as a human of this gender, um, doing I mean, horrible human things. I was killing people, but I was that. The point is, I was a human of this gender, just being that and that's now I've never seen that before in any kind of mainstream media. And it needs to happen because
Mhm.
like right now, if I had to go get a new passport, it's gonna have to say male on it. It has to go back to my old way. If I get locked up in jail or a nut house, I get detransition. They take away my hormones, surgically remove my tits if they can, and put me in with the men. And do your best. You know what I mean? And that's the same in England now, Germany, Russia, America, a lot of countries. So like my whole gender is like legally not allowed to exist right now. So putting us in some kind of media is like super important, I think, because it's real. We're not gonna we've always existed. We just didn't
Mhm.
have the means and surgeries and technology and hormones to look like this. You know what I mean? But if you go back in history, you can see a lot of people where you're like, that's a trans person. They just couldn't transition or whatever. Or, in the 70s, we were just drag queens. That's what they say, because we didn't have
Mhm.
the 60s and 70s. Like, um, anywho, so Babs got to be Babs, and I loved it. Is I've been only done one mainstream movie before, but I've done like I don't know 10,000 porns, mostly BDSM, and a lot of them I directed, wrote, made, edited, everything. Um, so like that thing where I was dragging I forgot the character's name, but I was dragging Danielle across the floor by her hair. That's something I learned in gay porn. And when I used to make a lot of gay superhero porn, and they had a stunt guy, like a real guy on set who's supposed to tell us what to do. And I was like, hey guys, I got an idea. Can I just grip her by her fucking hair and drag her? And they were like, what? And I was like, no, no, no. She just has to put her hand over my hand and look like she's fighting it. And I'm really dragging her by her hand. like backwards. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But it's gonna look real, trust me. And they let us do it. It looked totally real. And I was like, see, porn comes through. You know what I mean?
That
Like
was badass.
we
Yeah.
get to do that, you know? But I love being Babs. Can't wait to be Babs again. Uh, yeah. I hope I get to
Yeah.
do more physical stuff because that's like the most fun part. Um, so that'll be cool. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good answer. What about you, Louis?
What? What was the question?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't ask. Um, can you tell us a little bit about your character as Mr. Director?
Yeah, I've been working on this film with Donnie for about, I know Donnie for about 15, 20 years, and we've been working on this film for about 4 years. And, as we started developing the character, I started going in my mind, going like, what do I want it to be like in a horror kind of world? So as we kept developing it over the years, I kind of came up with like the Jack Nicholson from The Shining and the guy from Silence of the Lambs, the bad guys. So I kind of put those guys together. I don't want them to be screaming over the top, and I want them to be more, a controlled chaos kind of killer. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
as it went on, I just kind of started doing my own thing with that, and it was kind of fun doing it. Where people believe you because you're sensitive, but they also go, "Wow, this guy can kill you in 2 minutes." So, and I like again, me and Donnie have been friends forever. We've been working. I'm one of the producers on the movie. So yeah, me and Donnie had a long journey with this.
Nice. And well, the movie paid off well. It was amazing. I liked it. Love the graphics, the makeup effects, the acting. Chef's kiss. And how was it working with with one another? Like, because you guys are both the killer duos, right?
Yeah, it was amazing working with Louis because I immediately started learning a fuck ton. Just like Louis was just saying about starting out at NYU, like I'd done a lot of porn and I performed on stage a ton. Um, but I think the first thing we shot when we were shooting the trailer that me and Louis were together, Don told me a line to say. And so I kind of in my head practiced it a few times, went in the bathroom. I'm like, okay, what face am I gonna make? Da, da, da. But I never occurred to me that Don's gonna be down in a wheelchair. And then when we get
Mm.
to the shot, or sorry, Louis is in a wheelchair. Louis is like lower than me, and then we only have one angle that the camera can be in. Otherwise, we can't get the shot because they wanted to get a certain background. So I only had one way to keep my body, and I could either get down on my knees to say the line, say it up to him, or I could say it down. But I hadn't like we didn't have time to like work on any of this shit. By the way, it was pretty low budget, So so I was like, oh shit, this is harder than I thought. I gotta like compress this direction and completely change the three things, the three ways I thought I was going to say it, and just wing it on the spot. And I saw Louis reacting and acting on the spot and adapting to everything. I'm used to adapting to shit, like because porn's low budget, so you just make the best with what you got. Um, but not like there's some real specific ways mainstream acting is a different level of that, and so I just learned so much. And then I saw Louis memorizing lines real quick that changed on the spot, and like kind of rehearsing to himself, and then how Louis interacted with the rest of the cast, which is like I thought a good role model. One, because Louis has been doing this shit longer than most people do any job ever. Like my dad had a career, a real career, 42 years, right? Um, and most people don't go anything longer than that. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to do what Louis does as far as like off camera. What do we do when we're getting dressed? What do we do when we're getting food together? How do we talk to each other? Because all my experience was like dirty porn shit where like yeah, I mean, it's same thing. It's human to human, but it's like human, naked human to clothed human, and one of you has something up their ass at the moment. You know what I mean? Or like what is chained up at the moment, or whatever, whatever. So you don't talk the same way, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
you can
accurate.
get away with more dirty jokes and like quick humor and stuff like that. So uh yeah, I just learned a ton from Louis. And like everything I thought I was basing my character on, um, had there wasn't the stuff I was like, okay, Babs is this. This is Babs's backstory in my head. I was like, okay, I gotta have to adapt this to like the short amount of time and space we have to actually shoot this. Because we had about 3 weeks, but also the SAG rep was killing us and like slowing us down. So we lost, I don't know, 4 or 5 days here and there. And then there's only so much money. So a lot of these shots we had to get in like one take. I mean, one take from this angle, one take on the wide, one take on that. And so we had like one shot, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? From what I remember to get the shit right on most cases. Um, so I was like, I don't know. But it's, yeah, learn a ton from Louis. I'm like, okay, how do I make the most out of this small window of time that's going to last forever? It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Louis? How was it working with Babs?
It was great. I'm telling you, it was so easy. I thought like I didn't know like she'd never worked before because she was so great on set. Smooth, knew everything, was like so easy to work with, let's do this. Okay. It was great. It was for a first timer. It was great. She was like a pro from day one. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to work with people who understand. And she totally understands, and that's why she'll keep doing this and get better and better.
Oh, nice.
Well,
Okay.
thanks.
When acting in the movie Director's Cut, how did you mentally prepare yourself when it comes to playing the role as Babs?
Well, like I said, I've been doing some kind of, like, I don't talk about spiritual shit much because I don't want to weird people out. And most people don't, or they're like, huh, what am I, like a porn star hooker arms dealer in real life? So like people don't really want to hear about my views on
Mhm.
gods and stuff. Um, but there's the core thing from it is okay, so there's this book called the Talmud, which is like I'm not Jewish, but this happens to be a Jewish text. And like way back, like around 450 BC, bunch of people are leaving Babylon. They're trying to make it back to Israel. And they're really creeped out by Babylon because it was like really perverted there. And they're like, "Oh," you know, and they're really prude. They just happen to be. So they're all woeing to each other about the woes of sex and how sex is horrible and violence and destruction is just so horrible. And oh, what are we going to do? So the head leader, guru person in this clique of people roaming back to Israel, um, in the text prays up to their god and says, can please remove sex and violence from humanity, like just begging, right, just wipe it out. And then in the text God drops down a tablet that just a stone tablet, it just says truth but in Aramaic, right? And they're like, truth, okay. So they all starve themselves for 3 days. They just go anorexic, which, like, girl, I've been there. You get some bad news. Let's do that. That's the first solution. Then God sends down the actual angel that embodies lust and destruction, called the Yetzer Hara, which is like a, anyway, they don't talk about it much, but it's like that's the, not the devil, but the thing inside of all of us that wants to do horny stuff and also burn down everything. Um, and so that thing, that angel's like there, and they're all like, "Oh, what do we do?" And it's this like scary thing. And then they say, "Well, let's kill it. Let's just kill it. Then we're done with sex and violence. We don't have any more, and we'll all be pure, and everything will be good." And the angel says to them, in ancient Aramaic. So, but in my words, he's like, bitch, if you kill me, life ends. Like, good luck having life without sex. How you going to procreate, and da da da. Da. So they're like, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to poke its eyes out. So, right? Seems oddly specific. So they poke its eyes out, right? Now it's blind. Okay. So now all of humanity has inside of us not just a lustful force that also is destructive, but a fucking blind one. Can't even see what it's doing. It's just right out there destroying shit, right? Um, and they did that because they were scared of sex and destruction and all that. And then they had nothing left to do. So they're like, I guess just go be. And the point of that tale in the Talmud is we all have that in us, this like sexual destructive force that is blind. It doesn't know where it's going, right? Um, so long story short, sorry, Babs is that, right? This thing that, like, through years of trauma and damage and all that kind of shit, and just trying to live and trying to hustle, get knocked around, plus obviously transition at one point, which is hard, um, is now just this thing that doesn't really talk much, and just whatever Louis says to go kill, Babs goes and kills. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
Babs is blind, right? That's what I was kind of thinking.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but that's where I was trying to go with it, but you know, limited time, limited script, limited whatever, and also that Don wrote the fucking movie, not me. But that's just like my acting
Right.
portrayal.
That's
That's what I
good.
was trying to put out because I thought it was, and also it's like an ancient text that like I said, I'm not Jewish, but it's one of the oldest things that we have record of. So it's like, oh, it's got to be some truth to that, you know, something relatable for all humans watching. So that's what I was trying to get be for Babs, and maybe in the sequel and the prequel, we'll have more opportunity for that. But again, Don's the writer director, so Don might take it in a cool, different way, and I'll be happy
Okay.
to show up and play the role, and I'll do whatever the fuck Don says, you know.
Yeah, no, but you did an amazing job though, because the when you were explaining to me, I can picture it. So you did good. Good job. For you, Mr. Louis, again, when acting in the movie director's cut, how did you mentally prepare yourself when it comes to playing the role as Mr. Director?
It's just like you get any character and, you take a piece of you and you add it to whatever character you're doing, and that's what makes each role individualized, so not everybody's the same. So I just take what like when it was a kind of a role where you could lure people in and make them comfortable. And that was my real personality. And then the killing part is just making it up. So you kind of merge both worlds, and, yeah, you just kind of create, but I don't believe being on set, being too serious, being too over dramatic with your cast members. You have to have a camaraderie, So if you're like temperamental or angry or like kind of like even in the role, you have to kind of be able to mesh and then do your thing. You can't just be, I want to go in the corner. I can't be talking to anyone. I got, certain maybe one or two, but not the whole movie. You got to be interacting with people on and off camera. I
Mhm.
believe that. That's the camaraderie. I've been on TV for so many years that, you're working with 20 people. You're always in table. You're always just in with 20, so it's a team, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah. Were you nervous at all when it comes to like acting?
Me?
Oh, yes.
No.
What about you, Miss Lucy?
Well, I wanted to do a good job, because so yeah, like in that sense, and like I said, behind when we weren't shooting, it was just like socializing with these like super talented young 20s humans that like had been they'd done some shit and seen some shit. Well, Danielle had been acting since she was a little kid and was like a serious role in a big movie, you know. Um, and I didn't want to like weird them out or do anything like too autistic or something. You know, so it's like nervous about that, or
Yeah.
like I don't know the way I talk to people. It just didn't like I said, I'm like a hooker porn star arms dealer. Like I don't know, like it doesn't. I didn't want to like be too weird. Um, so that made me a little nervous. But everybody's so welcoming and kind.
Was there any challenges you faced during the movie? And if so, how did you overcome them?
My voice, I didn't. I was at the tail end of having this voice, and I didn't know what voice to talk in for my few lines because up in for 44 years of my life, you know, I talked more like this. I had like this was my old voice, and now raise the lyrics, move the tongue forward. Now it's more bright, but then this is like really femme and bubbly. You know what I mean? So where do I that? And then I was still getting used to walking female, which is a different thing. Like you just, especially with, I have, like, you know, used to be a guy, so my pelvic bone's very narrow, but I'm trying to walk in a femme way where my legs are actually closer together than they would be. And then where's my shoulders, where's my elbows? So I'm trying to like just exist in that gender while also being tough and scary, you know? So that was tricky, but I like now all that's much more locked in. It's been like a year. And like, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be a problem today. But that's just where I was at. I was um when we were shooting the trailer, I was like 3 or 4 weeks out of a surgery, like a new face thing. So I was still like swollen, getting used to this is what my face looks like now. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
um yes, that was different. But the actual movie making was like so, I mean, I don't want to say easy, but I didn't get tortured. No one actually got hit. There's no impact on anybody. It makes sense.
No, I get you. And Louis, was there any challenges that you faced during the movie? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Not really. I mean, just the cold. It was so cold in that mansion. It was
So
winter. We
cold.
had heat. We had short sleeve shirts on, and that was
Yeah.
about the only thing to overcome. Otherwise, like again, I show up 100% every time, and no matter what, how big or little the movie is or how big the show is, I show up 100 miles an hour, always ready to play. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you overcome the challenge once you overcome that. You know, people get nervous, people get this, overcome it and go there and be a team and win.
Nice. And when playing as Babs, did it affect your mentality in any way or form?
No, it was honestly that was the best thing I had going on in my life at the time. Um, life's life, so I had other shit going on, and
Mhm.
showing up to set was like it was just like okay, all that gets to stop because here I am working. And it felt so good. Just I felt so lucky just to be there. Uh, it was really nice. I can't wait to do more of that.
Mhm. And for you, Mr. Louis? When playing as Mr. Director, did it affect your mentality in any way or form?
No, nope.
No?
To
Oh,
me, it's
okay.
a job, it's a role. You show up, you create the best you can, and then once it's done for me, you know. Even when I have an audition and I leave, I throw the sides in the garbage. It's a job. I don't really let that affect any personal life of mine. It's my job. I love doing it. I show up. I'm, always 100% no matter what, and that's it.
Nice. Okay. And on to some juicy questions I have here. Okay.
Juicy. Hell yeah.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, if I had to pick one, I like Cabin in the Woods. It just
Ooh.
sticks out to me because it's like a funny one, and it's a little like greatest hits of a lot of horror movies put in one. Um, and I think it does a really good job of. It's got its jump scares, it's got its gore, but it's also it tells a real story. From above, like looking down at horror as a genre. I think it does a good job. So I like that one a lot.
Nice. I like that one. No one has said that
What's-
answer before, but that's cool. What about
I
you,
would say
Mr. Louis?
Halloween, probably Halloween, the whole franchise. I love Halloween's.
Would you say that's your favorite like horror villain?
Yeah, kind of, And then I would say probably after that, probably like Freddy Krueger.
Ooh, he's a good one too.
Yeah, so most,
Yeah.
yeah, but the Halloween series is great to me.
And what about you, Lucy? Who's your favorite ho horror villain?
Man, that's hard. I like Freddy. I grew up watching Freddy.
Mhm.
That's the thing. And it was Freddy and Jason when I was like a kid growing up. Like the movies we weren't allowed to watch, we watched anyway. And Freddy was like had so many layers to him. And Jason, I mean, he didn't talk, he didn't do anything, but you can tell there's like something happened with this thing, whatever the entity is that is Jason. Um, but I like those two for sure for different reasons. But Jason's like an unstoppable force, which I think is kind of cool. Like he's inevitable. If he wants to kill you, he's going to kill you. And then Freddy, the dream thing and the mixed realities is so cool to me.
Yeah, it is. I like that one. And what's the most unsettling or disturbing scene you've ever seen in a horror movie?
Oh, uh, God, there's a few. I'm trying to think of anything that's really disturbed me. I can't. I don't know. Um,
I don't know that, right? That's a tough one.
yeah, I get more disturbed by like I have like claustrophobia trauma. So
Mm.
like anytime someone's like trapped, like in Riot Girl, I don't know if you saw the movie, but the character gets stuck in a tube, like with her arms stuck together, and she's just stuck there for like a long time and can't move. And that like sticks in my I'm like, oh God, I don't want that ever to happen to me.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Um, yeah.
What about you, Mr. Louis?
What was the question?
Oh, what's the most unsettling or disturbing scene you've ever
No, I don't
seen
really
in a horror
know.
movie?
There's so
No?
many. You don't even know. No, not really disturbing. I find a lot of them interesting. Like that's why I like the Halloween series. It goes on so many times, so many different ways. You just don't. Yeah, not
Have
really.
you
I don't.
guys seen the movies of Final Destination?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That
I
doesn't
love
freak you
those.
out? Like it doesn't get you paranoid?
No, not really. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like a tough thing or anything. I've lived a full life already. I'm only 45, and the idea of like a bus hitting me tomorrow doesn't like, I hope not. I want to keep
Yeah.
doing more stuff, and I know people would miss me, but I'm also like, I've had a pretty cool run. You know what
Oh,
I
okay.
mean? So I'm not, that doesn't really freak me out. I think those movies are that the Final Destination, I think it's the second one with the highway scene with the logs. That's like
Oh,
such a
piano.
just an action scene. That is so crazy. I love that, you know.
And have you seen the roller coaster scene?
Roller coaster one. Is that the first one? No.
I
No,
don't
that's the
remember.
third one, I think. I can't remember the roller coaster one so much. But
Oh, that's scary. Oh, heck no. I can't. I can't do roller coasters, to be honest. I am too afraid of that. No, thanks. What about you, Mr. Louis?
I don't ride any rides. I don't like any rides, anything like that.
At all? Like not even at Disneyland or
No, I go Disneyland's different, but any roller coasters, no, I don't go on.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they make me sick too. They make me sick. So
Yeah.
I don't
So
get
you do you
nauseous.
guys do you guys go to like Six Flags and stuff or not really?
Not since I was a kid. I don't know if I would go now because the crowds really aren't my thing.
Me
You
Oh,
neither.
know,
okay.
like
Oh,
I like for like Pride's kind of coming up, and I don't do the parades anymore. For Pride, I go to some events. I get to perform at some shit now, which is pretty cool. But I don't do the big parade day because it's just a mess. I'm going to a convention this weekend though, but it's not. It's a very limited. We're
oh,
taking over like a Holiday Inn. It's not like a huge thing. You know what I mean?
oh, okay. And what movie scared you as a kid?
Ugh. Gremlins. I remember
Oh,
being a little freaked out. Alien freaked me out. Yeah, and I don't know why those two things were like freaky to me. You know, because look at neither of those are like Alien is awesome movie, but it's not really scary. Scary. Gremlins is the comedy, you know,
yeah.
but
Right.
just freaked me out. The little creatures, just like you know.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Lee?
Probably
What
Shining.
movies? Oh, yeah.
Shining's good.
Oh,
Yeah,
So anyone is a good one.
yeah.
So that
yeah.
would like freaked you as a kid? Like what got you paranoid?
Yeah, just the whole, you don't know what the mindset of this guy is. Like again, like I was saying in this movie when I did it, you don't know what his control chaos is. And then he turns out he's trying to kill his wife and kid and bringing them up, luring them up. That's like, you don't know. Anticipation of death is worse than death itself.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah. And if you could be any horror villain or monster, who would you be?
Oh, any of them. I'd say not Freddy because he's just a dream guy. And I don't want to be Jason because he's like ugly under the max. I want to be hot, you know? So I like being Babs. I think Babs is pretty fucking cool. I feel pretty lucky with that one, you know?
Mhm. What about you, Mr. Lewis or Louis?
Probably Jason.
Jason?
Yeah.
Oh, how come?
I just love the whole, you don't know what he's really, again, you don't know what he's doing, what happened. This kind of like he's like a mystery. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? He really
yeah.
is. Every time he shows up, yeah, it's kind of cool. I love it.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to interview you guys. It's a blessing for me. So, is
Oh,
there anything that you guys would like to promote or say that you to the audience or any advice or anything?
No, just check out Mr. Director. It's on VOD now. It'll be on some streaming channel in 2 months, and you can watch me and Babs kill a million people or her. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Just check
good.
out, yeah, and look for the sequels and prequels. I got if anyone like cares about what's Lucy too, lucyhart.com or booklucy.com. They both get to all my shit. So
Sounds
uh
good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that video with my two special guests, Lucy Hart and Louis Lombardi. I feel so special that he said I can call him Louis. But anyway, and don't forget, I have a reading for you. And you don't have to take this personally. You don't have to believe in it or consider this. So, yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead. I already shuffled, and I'm just gonna shuffle and then pull out one card. My cards might look scary, but does not mean it's a bad thing. Ready? The lovers. And no, it does not mean the person you're with is toxic, okay? Just because my card looks scary. But the lovers basically means that you have a strong connection within yourself, meaning you love yourself, you put yourself first, and you balance that out, obviously. You take care of yourself first before you take care of others. You put yourself first before you put others. Um, you obviously take care of your needs before others, which is good. Keep going, move forward. Um, I noticed that you're the type of person that doesn't really care what people have to say about you. And I just want to say congrats. Keep thinking like that. Also, I see people who kind of like are not a big fan of you, but I think it's because the way you carry yourself, you and the way how you respect yourself. That's a lot, you know? The way you carry yourself or the way you represent yourself. Sometimes some people don't like that, but then again, who cares, right? They can't really do nothing about it. They just have to accept you for who you are and, live with it. As long as you're not harming anyone or as long as you're not bad mouthing anyone, then that's all that matters. As long as you respect yourself and the people around you. So, yeah. So, this means like you and the person in the background is just people or one person specifically that kind of like don't like you for who you are or just don't like the way how you carry yourself. But I think it's because they're semi-jealous. But I don't think you should really like focus on that. You get me? I feel like you should focus more on the positive than the negative. So move forward with your life, start a new journey, whether it's going to the gym, eating healthy, or starting something new, either like a new hobby or whatnot. Keep moving forward. It's good to start somewhere. So yeah. Oh wait, and then the bottom of the deck. So this is the top deck and this is the bottom, which is death. Again, it's not supposed to be scary. Death means how can I explain it? It's like you live and you learn from your past mistakes, and you just move forward. Try not to let the past define who you are because every day is a new day, and anyone can start on a new chapter. It doesn't hurt anyone. So, like I said, if you want to do something new, try something new, or anything that has to do with you being a better version of yourself, I say you do it. Regardless what people have to say about you, or regardless what people say, like, oh, well, she's a two-face or whatever it is, it does not matter because people don't define you, only you define yourself. So I hope you guys enjoy that video. Again, if you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And don't forget to follow Lucy Hart and Louis Lombardi, and go ahead and support them and follow them and see what they're up to. And yeah, I have my social medias down below so you can know what I'm up to too. Anyway, so have a great day, stay blessed, and don't forget to take care of yourself. Bye, guys.